Yes, hello everyone. I'm Christine and I'm a VA who kind of mainly specialises in kind of the marketing side of it. And I am based in Dublin at the moment.
Love it. And I know that you had studied marketing in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about I guess college, university, what you kind of did in terms of studying and what you learned from that, and then why you decided to go into this world
Yeah,
of the marketing world?
definitely. So I studied marketing, innovation and technology. So it was kind of more of a digital marketing course in Dublin for 4 years. And that kind of brought me into two different internships during my time in university. And they were both marketing based and both digital marketing based.
Okay.
So I think that leaving university, I kind of had gotten that experience, knew I really liked it, and kind of wanted to pursue a bit within that kind of area. So I then went into a graduate program straight after university, and it was with an international business. So it brought me over to Manchester for my first role with that business, which was kind of in the energy space. Yeah, so it was with an energy company, and again, my role there was digital marketing. So it was a lot on kind of websites, a lot of updating kind of CMS, the back end of websites, a lot to do with email marketing, working with different agencies on our kind of digital presence and things like that.
Okay, cool.
So that was really enjoyable. And then I went on to my second kind of rotation in that program, which was another year long, which brought me back to Dublin, back to home. And that was with a healthcare company. And again, that was digital marketing role. But obviously, as you can imagine, customers very different kind of type of marketing that we were doing.
Yeah.
But still email marketing, a lot of social media marketing, a lot of LinkedIn marketing, pieces like that. And when I was doing that, I guess digital marketing obviously is always evolving and stuff like that. So I really wanted to kind of update and hone in on those skills. So I did a diploma with the Digital Marketing Institute, which was really good. To kind of get updated on like paid ads, search engine optimization, those kind of little extra pieces that I might not have had as much experience in. So that was great. But then I guess I finished my 2 years on the grad program. And for me, I kind of knew I wanted to take a break. It was coming to a kind of a nice natural end for me. And I knew I wanted to kind of take a bit of time to figure out what I wanted to do. I had just been studying to become a Pilates teacher with my sister at the time.
Love it.
So that was kind of coming into it as well. So I knew I wanted to kind of pursue a little bit of that. But I wasn't sure how I was going to manage it all at the same time, having a full conventional 9-to-5 job and then also trying to bring in some Pilates teaching into it. So I took a few weeks off, and it was actually, I think, only within like 2 weeks of finishing my pre-rehearsal, I came across you. I came across you, I think, on Instagram, and I'd heard about kind of virtual assistants and the kind of that world before, but I guess I hadn't looked too much into it. And I guess when you see things typically on like TikTok or things like that, and it's someone in America speaking about it, you know, you think it's sort of a pyramid scheme or something that's not really, it's too good to be true.
For sure.
Yeah. So I guess when I came across you and I saw someone who was actually Irish and doing this and running a course, it really kind of intrigued me. So it made me like look into it a lot more. And then I guess when I was thinking about why I should do it, it was more so that having that kind of balance. So I'd be able to pursue both the Pilates, which I had a really nice interest in, but also continue the marketing because I really did enjoy that part of my life.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find a way to make kind of everything work together. And I guess that's what this has given me. So it's been great so far. But yeah, trying to find that balance within my life. And yeah, this has been great.
And did you have to quit your job, or did the grad program just naturally come to an end so you didn't have to make the choice?
Yeah, so the grad program naturally came to an end. I was offered to stay on with the role, but it was kind of a nice natural ending and a nice kind of goodbye and a nice way to leave it. It was kind of all packaged up in a nice bow for me. So yeah.
Okay. And then how soon after did you start, say, the VA Academy and actually take the first step to setting up your business?
I think it was probably within a week or two. I had obviously registered with the CRO and stuff like that. Yeah, taking the first few steps. That's really been a great part of the VA Academy, I think, giving you those foundational blocks and how to actually start. Because obviously in theory it's a great idea and it's a lovely thing to do and everyone's like, oh, just set up a social media. But I guess the actual logistics and the realities of it aren't always as straightforward to do.
There's a lot more to it, for sure.
Yeah,
I didn't realize there was such a short kind of break in you finishing up your full-time role, being like, what will I do? And then starting this within literally like a week or two. It's crazy how
Yeah.
I feel like when you give yourself like a break and you didn't put too much pressure on yourself to have it figured out, that you naturally were drawn to something that, I mean, it's all like to do your phone probably heard while you're searching for something new and recommended stuff. But yeah, very interesting that the timeline there. Um, and I guess you obviously wanted to do the Pilates side of things. Do you do that as your own business, or do you work for someone, or how does that work?
It's kind of essentially freelance and you're kind of self-employed
Yeah,
again. So
cool.
you'd work for like studios.
Yeah,
But again, obviously, as you can imagine with Pilates, your hours wouldn't conventionally fit like a nine to
yeah,
five role a lot of the time, or trying to cover for people, and you're not as flexible. So I guess
yeah,
this really gives me the flexibility to be able to decide on the hours I can work, or if something comes up
yes.
last minute that I can take on, which has been a huge part, I think, and has led me to become a better Pilates teacher as well, because I've had more time to invest into that and more time
Yeah,
to give that as well.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. And like, had you ever, I guess, before starting the Pilates like course, had you ever seen yourself as a that you wanted to like start businesses, or was it almost like by mistake?
Um, no, definitely, but probably not at this stage of my life. I definitely thought it was maybe further on
Yeah,
down the line. I didn't think it would come up at this period in my life. Like, I'm still obviously quite young and stuff, but I guess that's why I'm kind of lucky as well in a sense, because I don't have those additional responsibilities a lot of other people would have at this stage.
yeah. You could take the
Yes,
chance.
maybe down the line, but probably not this soon. No.
Yeah, it's funny how life works out, isn't it? That like, because it is like, what age are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
25.
Yeah, so it's unusual. Like, it's amazing to have that at that age, and like, you're already like pretty knee deep in both businesses now, which is, you only kind of set up the VA business in November. It's really exciting, and the Pilates, like, you're only kind of getting into that probably around the same time. Then
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
exact same time. It's a lot of
yeah,
newness, but it's been great.
yeah. Amazing. Okay, so how do you find managing? Because like, you're essentially now have two businesses. How do you manage the logistics of both?
Yeah, I think a huge part of it is to do with organization. You just have to be organized, especially when you're doing something that, like with Pilates, it's like hour here and hour
Yeah.
there, and then fitting everything in around each other. You don't obviously forget anything or drop the ball with anything or any of your clients. So organization is a huge part of that. And I think luckily that was one of my strengths. So
Yeah.
I think so far so good. But yeah, I think definitely organization, to be honest. I think that's the main one, and just staying on top of everything at all times.
Yeah. And how, like, what kind of hours do you generally work? Like, do you work Monday to Friday? Do you work within like 9 to 5? Like, what's your kind of schedule look like day to day?
Yeah. So I typically work Monday to Friday, and I am a morning bird.
Okay.
So I will get up probably at about 7, and I'll start work by like 7:15 or something.
Okay.
I think my brain works best first thing in the
Yeah.
morning.
Sure.
So I like to get that. So I'll start my client work probably at about 7:15 in the
Okay.
morning. Depending on the client, because one of my clients requires like regular check-ins with his clients and things like that.
Yes.
So that will kind of be more so in real time. So obviously I'll have to adjust my schedule based on if I have to give his clients a call, or just kind of pieces like that. So I usually like factor that into a certain day of the week,
Yeah.
and I'll tell them I'll be calling them in the afternoon at this day. So again, just bringing kind of in that organization piece, having a kind of clear structure to work within. So even though I work Monday to Friday, on Wednesdays I'll probably work later on in the day,
Yeah.
rather than as early, so that I can do things like that. But then for other clients, obviously it'd be more kind of social media management, things like that. So they can all be done in advance. So I suppose it doesn't matter what time
That's
I'm personally working at, once I get them all scheduled and ready to go.
okay. Amazing. So early in the morning, but like
Yeah,
actual amount of time varies day to day depending on what you've got going on.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. And what kind of clients are you working with? Like, what for your VA business, marketing business, what kind of industry have they been in?
So mainly actually within the kind of fitness and also Pilates industry. I think it's kind of come hand in hand, just based off some like natural kind of conversations I've had
Yeah.
with people as I've started teaching and things like that. That's where some of them have kind of come from, some of those leads and clients. So working kind of within like Pilates and yoga studio kind of space, doing
Yeah.
social media management, email marketing, things like that, kind of focused on the marketing side. And then naturally you kind of fall into that fitness kind of category
Yeah.
as well. Um, so I'm working for a gym client as well. So that would obviously be a lot of client check-ins,
Yeah.
a lot of kind of lead management and tracking for
Yeah.
him. So kind of staying on top of all that stuff because he's kind of a one-man show. So helping him with those pieces. I've also worked with it can really obviously vary in the VA world. So I've
Yeah.
worked with someone who owns kind of a child and baby onesie company,
Oh yeah, cool.
and bibs and things like that. So it really can vary, but I think I have been enjoying anyway so far working with kind of those fitness and Pilates
Yeah.
people. I guess I'm kind of of a similar mindset, and that's kind of just naturally come about. But that is definitely not to say that I haven't found someone I haven't worked with yet in a completely different industry that I definitely enjoy working with.
Yeah.
It's just been what's kind of happened naturally so far.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's like I'm a big advocate of like not necessarily needing to niche down because there's a lot like you can do a lot and work with a lot of different people, a lot of different businesses and do really well for all of them and have really good client relationships. But I also think it's interesting to like when you look at like the stats of like what people are end up working with you, you know, who are you enjoying working with, that it is people in that, you know, your kind of personal interests and personal hobbies are linked to it, which is exciting because it means that you're not just working for like solar or something random that you're just like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it has a huge impact if you kind of have a vested kind of interest as well in the business that you're managing.
100%. I feel like it just makes you more passionate, even if you're helping with social media or, you know, you're chasing leads, you know exactly where people's like points are, where they'll kind of get them over the line because you know like what would get you over the line if it's someone selling kind of fitness related content. So yeah, it's really good to have a personal interest in the businesses that you're helping. So I love that. And the next thing is what are your favorite things about working for yourself versus when you worked in, you know, in the more corporate world and office-based roles?
Yeah, 100% the flexibility. I think being able to decide, like, as I know I'm a morning person, I can decide, okay, I want to
Yeah.
work in the morning, I'm going to get this done. Um, Again, having flexibility to teach, I now have flexibility to take on things like during the day that I definitely wouldn't have had
Yes.
if I had been working a conventional 9 to 5. Another huge thing for me in one of my previous roles was the commute. It was a really long commute, and I think that used to unintentionally put me obviously in a bad
Yeah.
mood. And it'll just have like an impact on your life day to day. Be frustrated if you're getting caught in traffic and things like that.
Yeah.
So even just small things that you might not have considered, but they actually make a huge impact in your day. And for me, I live quite near the beach and stuff, and I like to just go out for a walk in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And again, just having the flexibility to be able to do that and on your own terms, or meet someone for a coffee on their lunch break, or you just really have that ability to choose your own hours and yeah, be your own boss.
Unbelievable. And like, how long was your commute, do you think, before, like day to day?
It could really range. It depends on the motorway, but sometimes it could take me 2 hours to get home driving, or the mornings were usually fine. I'd leave early enough in the morning. But yeah, coming home it could be anything from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours
So would you be
within Dublin.
talking like, oh, so is that like two to
Yeah,
3 hours a day you were commuting?
yeah,
And Dublin,
yeah, about
Dublin
that.
to Dublin.
Yes, yeah,
That
yeah.
is
So that's definitely had a huge
horrendous.
impact.
I mean, you've just got like, you know, 10 to 15 hours of your life back and also just not being in a car like aggravated. I think like
Yeah,
not even
I
just the
know.
time, but I feel like when you're just like in a car in traffic, you're just like, oh, this is wasting my precious,
I know
valuable time.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, I mean, that alone is like, that's not a small thing. That's a massive thing not having to do that. And I love that what you said about working in the mornings as well, because like most jobs, they have the structure where, and it can be hard to fit into that if you don't fit into that. And if you thrive in the mornings and you can get your work done in the mornings, like, I mean, that's amazing. And like, it's one of the reasons why I love it as well, because I thrive in the evenings. I've never been a morning person, always brain is turned off in the morning. So like I'll just start in the afternoon and not work ever in the mornings. And
yeah.
so it's good that, you know, how both of us have completely opposite, I guess, styles, but you can both make it work. And definitely a massive pro. And also, speaking of pros, obviously starting a business is, for anyone listening, it is a roller coaster. There are ups, there are downs, good days, bad days. What are some of the hard parts or some of the challenging parts you found about setting up, running the business, working with clients, the whole shebang?
I think just to begin with, you have to become very self motivated. I luckily kind of am quite self-motivated naturally, but I think kind of everything now falls on you to find your clients. You have to go out and put in the work.
Yeah.
To keep your clients, you have to continue to produce a high level of work. So I think you really have to be quite self-motivated. And obviously you're quite self-reliant now on yourself, obviously for your own income and things like that. So it's quite a difference from obviously getting your standard salary every month,
Yeah.
you know, how much to expect, you know, all those pieces. So kind of managing that side of things as well. So managing your own cash flow.
Yeah.
And pieces like that, because obviously you could be getting paid at different times of the month with different clients. So I think that was definitely kind of a bit more challenging at the start. No one's there to tell you like, okay, you need to put in the work now this morning from 9 to 12 or whatever. You kind of have to do that yourself and take that on yourself. So I think that has been kind of, I wouldn't say not a challenge, but probably something that like you don't really think about until you get into it. But yeah, and also I guess kind of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. For me, things like this don't necessarily come very naturally.
I love
Showing my face on
passionate.
camera and pieces like that. So yeah, kind of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, doing things you might not necessarily have done in the past. But just kind of saying yes to everything and trying out things and yeah, hoping they work out.
I love that. And I think it's like most people have the kind of a fear about putting themselves out there in social media and not wanting
Yeah.
to do it. And from your experience, has it helped grow your business by doing it?
Yes, 100%. As much as I nearly wouldn't admit it, it has 100%.
I know, as why I don't make you guys do it like for fun. It's like it genuinely helps your business, and I think that there's a healthy medium of like showing up online without it having to be your whole life. And it is just like putting your face on there. You did a little photo shoot recently, just kind of like leveled up your social media. It looks amazing, and just doing these things that like you know you wouldn't do if you had a job, but it's like I always compare it to like if you're if you had a job and your boss was like, right, we have to do sales calls today, we're doing like outbound lead generation, you'd be like, oh, this is awful, but you would do it, and then it
Yeah,
just gets a bit less awful and you just don't really care about it like after a while. And I think it's just like anything in life that's uncomfortable, it gets easier.
100%. And at least, you know, I guess if you're doing this, you're doing it for yourself as well, rather than someone else. So that can be your kind of motivation behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like for anyone listening who's thinking, of starting their business, it's just once you rip the band-aid off and put up something for the first time, it does get easier. You realize that like someone shares your page, a connection reaches out, someone recognizes literally your face from your page and then inquires to work with you. And then that's why it is so worth it to put your face on it if you can. Obviously, you weren't working at the time, so it was not that it was easy for you, but like you didn't have to like consult with work putting your face on the page or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And one more thing, how have you found it with navigating, like telling people in your personal life about the business? Because obviously it's very different than just being like, got a new job, or have you
Yeah.
told them?
Yes. No, I have. I have now. I think at the beginning it took a little bit of time as well, like everything, just kind of getting comfortable and nearly kind of having a little few lines of a script that you just kind of learned off so you can just bash it out as to what you're doing, because I suppose the virtual assistants world is very new.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't necessarily understand what you're doing. So kind of having a little bit of a script in your head to know what to say to explain to you when they ask what you're up to, or and I've actually found that alone, I've probably only started doing that in the last month or two, but alone that probably has caused a lot more natural kind of leads and things like
yeah,
that to come through, and people just natural kind of conversations to happen. So I think that's probably one of the best lead generation tactics I've probably been doing in the last few months or so, and just kind of having those conversations with people. And you'd be surprised how many people actually might need someone, or might know people within small businesses who need some marketing support or anything like that. But yeah, it definitely is a bit tricky, I think, in the beginning. But once you start doing it, again, it feels second nature. It just comes a bit more naturally. So yeah, I'd encourage everyone to just tell them if they're doing it, and not keep it so much of a secret.
yeah, absolutely. Because like that, like I've just seen it this week inside the VA Academy, like a couple of the girls have landed discovery calls, inquiries, paying clients literally just from telling people and from connections and from just like word of mouth, but it's only because they said like, this is what I'm doing to different people. And it does just go to show that, yeah, sometimes these kind of conversations can feel a little bit hard, but I think if you have one and you tell one person, tell two people, then it just kind of like, you just get used to it and like everything, then it gets easier.
Yeah. Yes, definitely does. It definitely does.
And then what are the services you're offering at the moment? What are you excited about? Like, what do you feel like are your strengths in the business and the kind of clients you're pulling in?
So I think coming from a marketing background, the kind of pieces I generally tend to enjoy are kind of more marketing focused. So email marketing I really enjoy. I did a lot of that in my previous role, so I have a good bit of experience in that and feel quite confident
Amazing.
within that. Also enjoy social media marketing and content creation. I do enjoy the kind of creativity behind creating the different content, creating the different assets, editing reels, pieces like that, kind of having that aspect of creativity that sometimes I think as well in your 9 to 5 you might not conventionally have. So being able to kind of have a bit of creativity with other people's businesses and like working together has been really nice. Really enjoyed that piece as well. But yeah, they're probably the main kind of marketing based pieces I enjoy the most. And luckily with my clients at the moment, I'm doing a lot of them. So I'm getting a lot of fulfillment and like enjoyment out of my day-to-day work. So that's been really good.
Amazing. And also just getting even more like, you know, you're kind of refreshing those skills like day to day as you're practicing them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And you're also potentially going to be offering content days, content shoots soon. Is that something maybe on the cards?
Yes, potentially. Yes, I might have one coming up with a client. But yeah, definitely something that might be on the cards coming down the line. Yeah.
Really exciting. I think that's something that's like taking off at the moment. It's where I'm seeing like, you know, yes, social media management is amazing, but like having content, doing content days for businesses. I actually just inquired just before this call about getting one done myself and in the next week or two, because it just like helps with social media so much. If you have a big bank of content just ready to go, ready to make TikToks and, you know, carousels, all these things, whether you have you know you also manage the account or the client manage it themselves, there's a lot of potential there, especially since you're based in Dublin. There's also so much potential there with just obviously the vast amount of people in Dublin, so that's a really exciting new thing coming up as well.
Yes, no, definitely is. Yeah, no, I think having that bank, even for myself, having like loads of photos and stuff, it just makes things a lot easier and speeds up the whole process. So yeah, it's definitely worth having.
Very exciting. Okay, guys, if anyone has any questions that's here live, just pop them in the comment section. If you're watching the replay, just pop them in the comments and Christine or I will chat. Cora says, love this, Christine, a midday walk is goals. 100%. It's such a simple thing, but when you're in like a 9 to 5 in an office and you just don't have that option, it can feel so like suffocating. So Cora, you're on the way, it's happening soon. And we have someone else that says, well done, Christine. Okay, Christine, that was amazing. First live, smashed it. Well done. And thank you so much for coming and chatting. What's the best place for people to contact you that want to reach out after this?
Probably just head over to my Instagram, send me a message. My inbox is always open for anyone that wants to have a chat.
Okay, amazing. I'll tag you in the replay. And thank you so much. I'll chat to you soon.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Bye.
See you soon. Bye bye.